Welcome to Expert Views on ADR Ever, a podcast about simplifying the traditional African method of settling disputes or the appropriate dispute resolution ADR in a bid to attract more users to settle their disputes or conflicts with mediation, arbitration, collaborative law, restorative justice, negotiation, conciliation, and early neutral evaluation. My name is CIArb, postdoctoral fellow at the University of Brighton, United Kingdom. I'm the fellow of the American Bar Association section of Dispute Resolution. I'm delighted to welcome Shivangi Sinha to the EVA show. She is an assistant professor at the New Law College, Pune, and the faculty coordinator of the ADR cell, Madhyasthta. Sinha is a member of the Mumbai Center of International Arbitration and a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. She wears many hats, so I've left the link to her profile below. Welcome to the show, Sinha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So without further ado, the number one most important question is, how far has ADR enhanced access to justice in India?
Okay, so taking your first question forward, but before that, I just wanted to tell you something, ma'am. I've been following your channel, and I just want to tell you that you're really doing some great job. Because while we'll be talking about more about this perspective, I know for a matter of fact that when there are new subjects into picture, we don't have much to study in it. So therefore, when we have all these different kind of perspectives and different experts coming, giving up their opinion, it is really, a basic matter of fact, and it becomes really vital for each one of us, to take things forward from there, because we learn every day from everyone's perspective. So I really want to thank you about it, because I'm a PhD scholar in arbitration. I'll be submitting my thesis soon. So your channel is really helping me a lot. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, so thank you so very much for that excellent feedback. I truly appreciate it. Yeah.
So, ma'am, like you just asked that, how far ADR has enhanced the access to justice in India. So I would just want to give you a very clear picture. We all are aware of what kind of system we follow in India. It's kind of adversarial system. And when we see the litigation perspective, there are numerous cases still pending in India. Taking into other picture into account, that is the commercial contracts and the business transactions which we enter. So whenever we enter into any kind of contract, and whenever there is a dispute, what we want is to settle it as fast as possible. But taking litigation into picture, because obviously no matter, everything is having their own pros and cons and have their own process, it becomes a bit of tedious process for two parties who are in dispute to take each and everything into consideration. And therefore, I think in that scenario, ADR plays a very major role. And also because it has windows for international commercial arbitration, that is for foreign parties as well. Therefore, in my opinion, it has really helped a lot to enhance the access of justice in India, where people are actually suffering and they know that they have no access, through litigation, and it's going to take a lot of time. Then obviously we do have some alternative measure which we can definitely opt for, and we are going to get some solution for it. So yes, and obviously, like I mentioned, that it also has space for international commercial arbitration. So obviously we have expanded the window for getting access to the justice.
Oh, thank you so very much. So is there any measurable difference between the cost and time frame of settling via ADR when compared to litigation?
Definitely, yes, ma'am, because when we speak about ADR, we are speaking about all the different kind of alternative dispute resolution measures. Like you initially mentioned when you started with the discussion, that we have arbitration, we have mediation, we have conciliation. So yes, of course, the first advantage which I would like to mention about ADR is the time flexibility which we have, which the parties do have. we also have provisions where we have inculcated fast track arbitrations as well in our legislation, and we are trying to follow it. So obviously, in comparison to litigation, where we have so many steps, the parties need to take so many steps into consideration. Taking that scenario into consideration, of course, yes, ADR do take less time. Also, because ADR is having a party autonomy, and we get into tailor-made clauses,
Yeah.
so parties actually know that what is the kind of dispute. Parties do know what they want in return. So I think in that way, it is quite easy for us to take things forward. So yes, of course, with respect to cost and time frame, yes, ADR is, comparatively flexible, I would say,
Mhm.
not exactly cheaper, but flexible, and comparatively less costly as compared to litigation.
Okay, so are employees aware of ADR options available to them at the workplace?
Okay, so ma'am, I would just want to direct this particular question to the, the non-doctrinal research, which actually I am also doing with respect to arbitration. So yes, prima facie, whenever we hear these kind of questions, and when we
Yeah.
think that people do have these kind of alternative dispute resolution measures coming up, they should be aware about it and they should opt for it. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, this is not the scenario in each and every cases. I would not take specific names, but there are huge investment banking companies also in India, which
Mm.
still prefer litigation more than arbitration. So yes, of course, we are working on the loopholes, we are working on the clauses, but yes, as compared to the workplace, as compared to the rising conflict, as compared to the workers who are working and the employees who are working, they
Yeah.
are aware of this kind of third party dispute resolution system. Because ma'am, I would like to put this on record that arbitration is not a new concept in India. Okay, if we go into the past, if we go into the history, we'll see that yes, of course, there is a person who sits under the tree, resolve the disputes of two people. So obviously we have given it a new name, we have given it a new structure. Okay, we have given it a new cover. So I won't say that the people are not aware, but there are situations where people are not aware, but we are trying to make them aware through, campaigns, awareness. Like for instance, if you speak about academics, then our college, Bharati Vidyapeeth New Law College, is having Madhyasthta, the ADR cell, which has been
Mm.
coordinated by me, where we try and focus different kind of ADR concepts. We bring
Yeah.
about awareness. The
Yeah.
different communication takes place. So yes, of course, people are aware, but we need to put more awareness and inculcation along with that.
So how about the trade unions? Do they encourage the use of ADR or mediation?
So yes, ma'am, trade unions, basically the most preferred form is mediation when it comes to their kind of
Yeah.
dispute.
Okay.
Why they support it? Because obviously the management and employee try to work in the most cooperative spirit to avoid any kind of conflicting situations. Okay, but unfortunately, this is not the scenario. And taking things, those kind of things into litigation, taking those kind of things into, to a different forum, to different organizations to resolve it, might be a bit tedious. And obviously their whole motive of working culture and everything is stopped. Now what happens that here, when we speak about trade union, we have a mediator who is,
Okay.
impartial third party, who has been
Yeah.
appointed, who takes an initiative and tries and resolve the conflict between the same. So yes, of course, these employees are more motivated when there is a concern of dispute to go for mediation. And this mediation process is now actually being supported by many industries, and even during their awareness campaign, they put on record that we should definitely go for initial dispute resolution settlements rather than taking things forward. We also have the concept of mid-arb, that is mediation and arbitration, or arbitration and mediation. So
Yeah.
this is also a kind of general supportive mediation process, which is these days now used with trade unions.
Okay. So how about the federal government? Are they quite supportive of employment relations or industrial relations?
So, ma'am, with respect to the industrial relations, I would say that obviously we have a state machinery which controls the process of conciliation, arbitration, and any kind of adjudication.
Yeah.
With all the recent amendments which has taken place in Arbitration and Conciliation Act, we can definitely see that our government is having that kind of intention to motivate the employees as well as the employers to avail this kind of common facility and even volunteer these kind of ADR mechanism, so that they have a good industrial relations among themselves. Speaking about the legislation, like I mentioned, we have Arbitration and Conciliation Act of 1996, and we have been amending it throughout till 2021-22. We do have a lot of amendments which
Yeah.
actually shows that whatever are the loopholes, the government is trying to reduce it. We do have the mediation bill into picture now, which definitely is going to take something into consideration. People do opt for conciliation because it's mentioned in the part 3 of our act as well. We do have
Oh,
negotiation. So
okay.
yes, of course, the federal government is motivating in various kind of aspects to actually bring these kind of relationships together, and so that we can dissolve the disputes as fast as possible.
Okay, thank you. So to what extent are employees encouraged to settle discrimination, bullying, and harassment in the workplace?
So, ma'am, when it speaks about the harassment and bullying in the Indian workplace, so I would say that yes, of course, they do opt for ADR when it comes to discrimination, bullying, and harassment in the workplace. But like I mentioned, it is based on party autonomy, and we have this human, sixth sense in mind that something which is private might not give us that amount of justice which we
Yeah,
require. So
yeah,
that is something which is always there. And we also have a case initially, which Booz Allen, which definitely says that, serious matters should go to litigation. But now, obviously, not that is not the scenario. Even the matters with respect to insolvency, bankruptcy code is going for arbitration. So I want to say that when it comes to settlement of discrimination, bullying, harassment at workplace, people definitely think that, okay, ADR is going to my first getaway round. But
yeah,
yes, of course, with the passage of time, the industries themselves has made this process of ADR as a compulsion. So whenever something is there which is going around and inside the management, okay, so in order to avoid that stressful and traditional court proceedings, okay, we often say that, you should save your money, you should save your time, and please definitely go and opt for arbitration. So now we can see that there are different companies who has created different kind of committees as well, to resolve these kinds of complaints, suggestions, and different things. Like, for instance, when we go to banking disputes, we have ombudsman. So yes, of course,
yeah.
in one way we won't say ADR, but we are trying to felicitate it in all, whatever matter we can.
So I want to go back to mediation. Is mediation quite developed in India?
Mediation has developed, ma'am, because obviously, suppose if I am entering a kind of contract with you, okay,
Mm,
and we are entering into a contract with a different motive that we need to take this business forward. So obviously, if we get into any kind of dispute, this is a kind of obstacle to the motive which we have thought. Now,
mm,
when we speak about mediation, there is always a win-win situation between the parties. There is no
mm,
party who is winning, who is losing. So we
mm.
come into different negotiable terms, and then we take things forward. So I think, in my perspective, that is one of the major reasons that why, we are focusing and developing more towards mediation.
Mediation. Do you have a law for it?
So, ma'am, like I mentioned, we do have a bill which is yet
Okay.
pending. We have
Okay, yeah,
mentioned it,
yeah.
and yeah,
Okay.
and we'll be definitely having laws for the same.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much for that. So, what is your advice for the mass advocacy of ADR?
Ma'am, when we speak about the advocacy and awareness, I would
Yeah.
say that we are actually working on this. on this particular forum, and we need to sensitize the customers, the consumers, that this is vital and this is eminent for your dispute resolution. Okay,
Yeah.
obviously there's a wide range of different bodies which has emerged during the past years, and we've been also working with respect to the institutional arbitrations, because people were focusing more on the ad hoc, but now we have institutional arbitrations. And like I told you, that ADR provides most harmonious solution. So we have different reports on consumer protection. We have launched different kind of redressal mechanisms. We have integrated grievances redressal mechanism. We
Yeah.
have online consumer mediation centers. Okay, we do have these kind of things in our existing system in order to inculcate and bring more awareness to the people, or that how they can utilize ADR more.
Thank you so very much. So final question is, tell me more about the ADR cell that you coordinate.
Okay, yes. So
Well
I think
done as well for creating awareness on ADR in India.
So I think this is my most favorite question. Okay, so yes, ma'am. So I'll just quickly explain you how the cell functions. Okay, so basically, like you already know and you already mentioned that I am an assistant professor at Bharati Vidyapeeth deemed to be University, New Law College, Pune, Maharashtra, which is situated in India. So here, how this idea actually came was, and then I'll come to my authorities part definitely. So when I started pursuing my PhD in the field of ADR, that is specifically arbitration with respect to the different corporate conflicts which comes up, so there I noticed that I have very less of material when I speak about domestic arbitration and other things. So I thought we need to have more of these kind of awareness. So my then principal and my current principal and all my authorities supported a lot in taking this whole cell process forward. And then we had this Madhyasthta, the ADR cell. Now this was formed in August 2019, and by then till now, ma'am, I can say that we have actually worked a lot. And the motive for which I have tried to create this, that people get more aware about it and they get to know and learn more about arbitration, we have tried to achieve it. How? Like we have been doing all these different kind of conferences. We are calling different guests from different field. We are trying to send students in for the mediation competition. I would also like to put on record that last year we also sent our students for this international commercial arbitration moot court competition, Hong Kong and Vienna. So they got that exposure as well. In Madhyasthta, we also have another venture called Guidra. Okay, that is the global initiative of alternative dispute resolution. So what we do, every Friday we have one blog and one video from any of the ADR enthusiastic from anywhere in the world. There's a whole team, there's a whole channel how we approach the people and take things forward, and they share their opinion on different perspectives of ADR. Not necessarily only arbitration, not necessarily only mediation. Okay, it could be anything, and it can also be a correlated part. We also have a student blog section where students share their perspectives. Okay, and then of course we do different events. We have international panel discussions and various other things. Okay, so this is the basic impact. And my current principal, Dr. Ujjwala Bindale ma'am, my senior faculties, Dharma ma'am, my initial principal who was there, Deshpande ma'am, they all are the more integral part of Madhyasthta. My authorities, the Bharati Vidyapeeth University, they have actually given us the permission to launch a website on Madhyasthta. So we do have a website where we run all these kind of different aspects of alternative dispute resolution. So yes, of course, this is not one man work. I would say I have a whole team set of students. Okay, since 2019 till today, I have this whole team set of students who are the most supportive part of it. And yes, of course, I am a bit enthusiastic to it, so I put my all efforts at how I can take this particular field forward.
I can see that. Well done. So thank you so very much, because I'm looking at the time, for providing a comprehensive overview of ADR in India. I truly appreciate you taking our time and coming on the show to tell us give us a detailed perspective on what ADR is and how it is, and how far it's gone in India. So thank you so very much. I believe that potential users would embrace all you have said, stated herein, and then opt for ADR whenever the need arises. All right. Take care. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.